What is going on, guys? Welcome to your 11th video, and in this video I want to finish laying out the website itself. Now, in my website, of course, it's 1000 pixels wide, and we also are going to have two main sections. We're going to have a left-hand section, which is going to be the links, and the main section. Now, right now, there's a picture in here and some other little boxes, but the key thing we have to focus on is the left section and the main section, or the side section in the main section. Now let's go ahead and work on that side section first, and I'm going to go ahead and name this main aside because the HTML5 element is named an aside. Now let me go ahead and take care of the width first. Now the width of this is going to be 208 pixels. Now the width is critical because we have to take note of all these values, because between the side section and the main section we cannot exceed the complete width of our wrapper, which is 1000 pixels. If we do, everything is going to look really messed up. So our width is 208 pixels. Now, aside from the width, I also want to add some margins to this. If it was butted right up against the top of the search bar, it'll look a little funny, and also if it was pressed right up against the right hand side of this main section, it would look funny. So that's why I added this little bit of white space here and here on the top and then on the right hand side, so it just separates it and makes it look easier on the eyes. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and hit margin top 10 pixels, and also margin right, which I just can do this little copy and paste trick I learned, margin right 10 pixels, and like I said, that gives that the little bit of space on the right hand side and on the top. Now after this, what I want to do is, you might not be able to tell, but there's a thin red border all around this, and it just makes it kind of pop out a little bit. So that's what I want to do now. Add a border width of 1 pixel. Now check this out. Whenever you have a section like we're creating right now, the width is not only the width you determine right here. You have to take a bunch of other things into account. The first thing is, of course, the width, 208. The second thing is any margins on the left and right. So at first you look and we have a margin right of 10 pixels. So since that is part of this entire section, the complete width of this is now 208 plus 10 pixels on the right, so 218. So just remember that we have 218 right now. Now, in addition to all of that, we have a border that surrounds this entire thing that is 1 pixel wide on each side, left, right, top, and bottom. Now for the width, it's only the left and right, so 2 pixels on a 1 pixel border. So 208 plus 1 on the left plus another 1 on the right for the border plus a margin right of 10 pixels gives you 220 pixels total. So just remember that we have 220 pixels total that we have to work with right here. And that means whenever we create our main section, since our total width of the website is 1000, we cannot exceed 780 pixels. Why? Because 780 plus 220 right here is going to give us our 1000. Now the last thing I want to do is float this to the left, and what that's going to do is take this and push it up against the left because that's where we want it. Now that we have our side section created, we can go ahead and make our main section. Now the first thing I want to do is also put a margin on top of here because we already added some space on here in order to get it aligned with this. Give this one a margin top of 10. So I guess I might as well go ahead and copy this baby right here. Now I also want to give this a margin bottom of 20 pixels. So let me just go ahead and copy that. Margin bottom of 20 pixels, and that is just because whenever the main section ends, I really don't want things buttoned up against the very bottom of it, or else it's going to look kind of weird. So that's why I decided to give it a margin bottom of 20 pixels. And whenever we create the footer and add some links down there, you'll see, but it's kind of hard to explain now. And the last thing I want to do, well, not the last thing, but I want to float this to the left. And you're saying, whoa, 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 this thing is already to the left. So why are you floating this to the left if we want it on the right hand side? Well, it doesn't really float both of these things right up against the left hand side. It just moves this to the left, and then instead of just, having this float over here or in the middle, it just bumps it up as far as it can to the left without overlapping this. So they're nice pressed up together, like fitting the pieces of a puzzle together. So I'm going to float that left, and the last thing we need to do is we actually need to give this a width because clearly it has no width yet. So remember this. The total width of our website was 1,000 pixels. This main side section was 220 pixels. So the width of this, in order to fit perfectly on our website, is 780 pixels. So just go ahead and remember this if you don't remember anything else from this tutorial. Not only when you're determining the width of boxes is the width a factor, but also your border, your padding, and your margin. So don't forget all those things. So the last thing I want to do is I actually want to work on this footer right here, which right now there are only 3 links, but this might be the frequently asked questions or the contact us might be down here, or maybe the terms of use, copyright, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and just style that right now. Main footer, and the first thing I want to do is add padding top of about 30 pixels. We can adjust that more or less whenever we start creating our website. And now what I want to do is clear both. Now if I can type this correctly, what clear both does is it pretty much means no floating elements are allowed on either side of this. So let's say that I don't know, this wasn't 100% width, so something might float to the left or right, but we don't want that. We want the footer to stand out all alone. So that's why we want to clear both, since these 2 elements were floating, just making sure. And aside from that, I want the font size to be a little bit smaller. So let me go ahead and set this equal to 10 pixels. And that is because the footer isn't really a main part of your website. You don't want to get it confused with the main content. You want to clearly see that it's just additional information that may be the not most important information, but it's there if you want it. So that's why I made the font size slightly smaller, just for design purposes. So anyways, in the next tutorial, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be styling the inner workings of the search box and also all of the buttons for the website. Now I want to mention this before you guys start freaking out that this is taking way too long just for this one file. I know this is taking long to style this one file, but this isn't one file. This is the styling for the entire website. Once we style this stuff, we don't have to style any of this anymore. So there you go. I hope that gave you a little bit of confidence because I know it takes a long time, but it's very important. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and in the next tutorial, hopefully we'll be finishing up this file.